Moral confusion results in a worse world. In the origin story, we have Adam and Eve told to not eat of the knowledge of good and evil. If we just take the story worded like that, it doesn't make sense, right? Why would having the knowledge of good and evil be a bad thing? This story, I believe, was distorted like anything that would clarify morality and clarify our situation here on earth in an empowering way to be disempowering, right? Propaganda is always disempowering. So the knowledge of good and evil that was being referred to was a false knowledge, a distorted knowledge, right? The devil was on that tree, right? So you can kind of get a glimpse, or you can imagine how that story was twisted away from an original version that actually made sense, and that version being God said, don't take in this false morality, right? Don't take in this BS knowledge of good and evil because it will lead to your downfall. Don't follow backwards morality. And where do we get backwards morality from for the most part today? We get it through mainstream institutions, right? And if we're going to stick with a Christian context here, Christian worldview, the world is ruled by the enemy, by the devil, right? The kingdoms of the world, right? So all the major institutions are fundamentally controlled by the enemy. So these are the exact institutions that push false morality. The idea today that being pro-freedom is selfish is completely false. So we're being told that accepting abuse is doing your duty, right? It's virtuous. Right? Accepting medical mandates is a virtue, and those that push these mandates are saints, and that false morality being that freedom is a bad thing and abuse is a good thing. It's completely backwards. Jesus gave us the perfect moral law, which is a law of love. Love God, love others, love yourself. The opposite of love is abuse. Taking away someone's freedom is another form of abuse. Right? The reason I'm vegan is because I care about animals. You could say I have some love for them. I'm expressing my love for them by just leaving them alone, right? I don't buy or use animal products, thereby leaving them alone. I'm not supporting industries that abuse them, right? So by giving them their freedom or by supporting their freedom, I'm showing some love to them, right? It's the same with humans. If a stranger on the street was walking around with a briefcase filled with medical devices and um, needles, and chemical cocktails, and he's going around telling people, "Hey, I got the latest wonder drug and cure um, to keep everyone safe and healthy," and you don't have any choice about it, people would look at him as a madman, right? They'd say, "This guy is crazy. He's trying to push drugs and devices on people. He doesn't have the right to push that on anyone else. He's not the master of humanity. You're not his slave. He can recommend whatever he wants to you, sure, but he can't force it on you, right? Taking away someone's freedom is abusive. Even if you say it's in the name of safety, even if you say it's to keep them healthy. The less freedom and love you have in your life, the more hellish your life is. And politicians are pushing slavery and abuse, the opposites of freedom and love. It's, Satanism It's Satanists basically hoodwinking humanity. Freedom is a necessity for happiness, right? If you don't have agency over your own life, there's no meaning to your life. There's no satisfaction to be gained from your life. I was listening to a talk the other day where they were saying how dignity is directly linked to autonomy, right? If you don't have any autonomy, you don't have any dignity. You know, people are talking about human rights left and right, but overlooking the fact that if you don't have autonomy, if you don't have fundamental freedom, you don't have a dignified life. You've been enslaved to one degree or another. And this is not a vehicle for happiness, right? Like, humans need freedom and love for happiness. Exactly what God provides us, right? And the love is by grace and guidance that you can tune into if you pay close attention, but it's given in a non-coercive way, right? Opportunities for a better life, opportunities to increase healthy desires and eliminate bad things, evil things from your life. So freedom and love are both very good principles. So satanic social engineers paint them as selfishness and conceitedness, right? We have people saying, oh, you care so much about freedom, but you don't care about other people getting sick, right? So they're trying to paint your desire to not be abused as equivalent with selfishness, when it's really just self-love in a healthy manner. And it's not just for yourself, but it's for all of humanity, when it's a precedent being set that the state owns your body and can prescribe whatever drugs they come up with or whatever medical devices. I mean, it's just absurd that you would trust, like, why you wouldn't trust the stranger on the street with the briefcase to just inject you with whatever he has in his briefcase, would you? Right. So why would you trust politicians or, pharmaceutical companies? How are they angelic? How are they perfect? How are they divine? Right? It's just idol worship. You just have been hoodwinked into thinking that these people are flawless and perfectly trustworthy. You've made idols of them, right? Because they're put before you on the news every day as these prestigious, experts, and they proclaim themselves experts. And so you think, oh, well, they're superior. I'm just a inferior citizen who should just follow whatever they say because they never deceive. They're never mistaken. Right? I had someone say to me the other day that being against the mask mandate shows how privileged I am. Right? So trying to shame me, make me out to be the bad guy because I don't accept that I'm the slave of politicians and pharmaceutical corporations, because I have the wherewithal to recognize that they could be deceptive or mistaken, and accepting the precedent that they can prescribe whatever medical devices or treatments they want for me and my children for the rest of my life is not a good scenario, right? I mean, it's just ridiculous to call that selfish or to call that, privileged. And the other guy was like, oh, pure delusion. Another comment on that was, oh yeah, this is just pure delusion. You know what's pure delusion? Putting politicians on a pedestal, putting them up as if they are equivalent to God, as if they are perfectly trustworthy, and that you should just give your life over to them to just do whatever they want, inject whatever they want into your body, put whatever devices they want onto you. I mean, it's just sick. You see these little children, I've seen video of infants with masks over their face and nose, and the mother pulls down the mask for a moment, and you see that their mouth is like wide open and their tongue sticking out like they're gasping for air. This is child abuse. And it's always projection. People that defend evil are always just project their own terrible qualities onto others, right? What's more privileged than thinking you have the right to control someone else's body and decide what medicine or devices get put on their face and their children? What's more privileged than that? I would never believe that I could do that to someone else. I don't believe I have that privilege, right? So it's just complete bullshit to say that someone who's against these mandates are privileged, think that they're privileged. I'm against these mandates because I don't think anyone has that privilege. I don't have it, and neither do politicians. I mean, of all people, the least trustworthy, the people with the worst track record, right? The people corrupted by power. You give them the special privilege? It's just retarded. It's so stupid. And yet these smug jerks name call and slander those that oppose this. I mean, it's just fucking ridiculous.